A chilling moment unfolded during a royal event. Prince Andrew's icy glare locked onto Princess Catherine, sending shockwaves through the crowd. Prince William, witnessing it all, was visibly shaken. Cameras caught it. A tear slipped down his cheek. What caused this emotional breakdown? The truth will leave you stunned. The tense moment. Andrew's death stare. It happened when no one expected it. A royal appearance that turned icy in seconds. Prince William stood beside Catherine during what appeared to be a solemn family gathering, likely a memorial service or private remembrance event. The mood was serious, reserved, and respectful. Cameras were quietly clicking. The senior royals were lined up in a formal row, projecting unity. But then, suddenly, something changed. All eyes shifted because Prince Andrew was staring. And not just staring, burning holes through Catherine with a locked, unflinching death stare that left the room breathless. Eyewitnesses described it as tense, targeted, and deliberate. His eyes didn't flicker. His jaw was tight. The expression wasn't passive or lost in thought. It was loaded, focused, and cold. It wasn't a passing glance. It was a long, hard look, calculated, piercing, almost like a warning. Those seated nearby reportedly shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to acknowledge the tension or pretend nothing was happening. But the discomfort wasn't subtle. It spread like static through the room. Catherine's reaction said it all. She didn't return the stare. She didn't smile or move much at all. Her face remained composed, but her body betrayed the shift. Her shoulders stiffened, her back straightened unnaturally, and her eyes dropped quickly to the floor. According to a veteran palace photographer who witnessed the moment, she froze. Her face was neutral, but her energy changed. It was like she didn't want to be seen or challenged. Body language experts who later analyzed the footage noted that Kate's micro-movements reflected real discomfort. A slight tightening of the mouth, a delayed blink, hands clasped tightly in front of her, all signals of unease. This wasn't a woman caught off guard. This was a woman bracing herself. Then came the subtlest but sharpest reaction of all, William's. Standing beside her, he saw it happen in real time. His expression hardened. His posture turned from neutral to protective in an instant. Without words, he shifted slightly closer to Catherine, his shoulder edging in, his gaze flicking across the room toward Andrew. One insider said, "It was like watching a switch flip." William went from royal mode to husband mode in one breath. Even King Charles, who had been focused elsewhere, reportedly noticed the energy shift. Courtiers exchanged quick glances. No words were spoken, but something unspoken charged the room with tension. This wasn't about protocol or public duty. It was personal. And then, without warning, something happened that no one was prepared for. As William turned his head back toward the floor, viewers watching closely would see it. A subtle change in his eyes, a blink that lasted a beat too long, and then the beginning of tears. In front of the cameras, in front of his family, and right beside the man who had just sent that death stare at the woman he loved most. A stare that sparked a royal reaction, and possibly a deeper royal reckoning still to come. William's emotional response, the tears. In a split second, what started as quiet anger turned into something far more raw. Prince William's eyes welled up. It wasn't a dramatic breakdown. It was worse. It was real, controlled, silent, and utterly heartbreaking. One blink too long, one shaky breath. And that's when cameras caught it, a single tear rolling down his cheek. For a man known across the globe for his calm, polished composure, it was a deeply human moment. William has stood through funerals, crises, scandals, and decades of press intrusion. Yet never had he shown this kind of vulnerable emotion in front of the world. Those standing nearby said it happened right after Prince Andrew's cold, piercing death stare toward Catherine. William turned slightly, noticed how his wife had looked away. Her chin lowered, her shoulders tight, and something in him broke. His lips tightened, his gaze dropped, his eyes filled. It was quiet, but it was clear. He didn't sob, he didn't fall apart, but he looked broken, like a man standing in the center of duty and love, and watching both collide. Kate noticed instantly. Without hesitation, she gently reached for his hand, a small, unspoken act of connection. Their fingers barely touched, but in that brief moment, the bond between them spoke louder than any words. She didn't look at him directly, she just stayed close, knowing her presence was the only comfort she could give. Around them, aides and security staff exchanged discreet glances. The ripple was instant. One senior royal observer later shared, "You could feel the air shift." Everyone realized this wasn't a moment they could pretend didn't happen. But what made it even more powerful was the emotional history behind that single tear. William is the son of Princess Diana, a woman who cried in public, broke protocol, and bled emotionally in front of cameras. He has spoken about the trauma of losing her, of bottling up grief for years and trying to appear strong, even when he had felt shattered inside. That pain has never fully healed. And now, decades later, William was watching another woman he loves be quietly targeted, inside the same institution that failed to protect his mother. This wasn't just about Andrew's stare. It was about what that moment represented, that even now, in 2025, the walls of royalty still hold coldness, tension, and emotional landmines. A palace insider, speaking off-record, summed it up with haunting clarity. He didn't cry for himself. He cried because he saw history repeating, and he felt powerless to stop it. And this time, the cameras didn't miss it. The world saw the tear, and the world remembered. The backdrop of conflict between William and Andrew. What happened that day wasn't random. It was the result of years of hidden tension between Prince William and Prince Andrew. Their relationship, once polite, has deteriorated behind the scenes, and this public death stare may have been the moment the dam broke. Prince Andrew's scandals, especially his links to the Jeffrey Epstein case, have brought lasting shame to the royal family. William, known for being protective of the monarchy's future, has worked hard to keep distance. While King Charles has tried to maintain unity, it's no secret that William sees Andrew as a threat to the crown's image. Tensions reportedly reached a boiling point when Andrew made unflattering remarks about Catherine during a private royal gathering. The claims weren't publicly confirmed, but insiders said William was furious. One source added, "You can insult William, but don't come for Kate." Their last known appearance together was awkward at best. At a royal funeral months ago, cameras caught William's stiff body language and avoidance toward Andrew. It sparked speculation even then. Andrew, for his part, has quietly pushed to return to royal life. He's been lobbying Charles to allow him back into public duties, hoping time would erase past sins. But William reportedly refused to stand for it, drawing a clear line. That stare? It wasn't just a look. It was a challenge, a power move aimed at the woman closest to William. And the emotional aftermath said it all. Catherine in the crosshairs. If Prince Andrew's stare meant anything, it meant Catherine was the target. And royal watchers are asking the same question: why her? Some believe it's about jealousy. Catherine has grown into the most admired royal woman of her generation. She's elegant, respected, and holds the public's love. Something Andrew has lost forever. That comparison alone could breed resentment. Others say it's personal. Rumors have swirled for years that Andrew feels Catherine gets preferential treatment within the family. She and William are at the center of the monarchy's future. While Andrew is sidelined, his name attached to scandal. His stare may have been more than anger. It may have been bitterness boiling over. In that moment, Catherine was left vulnerable. She stood in full view of cameras and crowds, her every blink recorded. She couldn't react, couldn't walk away, only hold her poise as Andrew's eyes locked onto her like a message. William saw it all. His protector instinct kicked in immediately. And that's when the emotion began. For William, it wasn't just a bad moment. It was a flashback to what happened to his mother, and the realization that history might be trying to repeat itself. Kate's history with Andrew hasn't been dramatic publicly, but behind closed doors, it's said she keeps her distance. Now the whole world saw why, and this time the pain was visible, for everyone to see. Public reactions and media spin. As soon as footage of Andrew's death stare hit the internet, royal watchers did what they always do. They dissected it frame by frame. Within hours, clips were trending on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, each showing slowed-down moments of Andrew glaring at Catherine, while William's expression shifted from composed to crushed. The headlines weren't subtle. William breaks down in public, Andrew targets Kate, and the death stare that shook the monarchy appeared across British tabloids and international outlets. Even normally reserved publications picked up the story, highlighting William's teary reaction and the visible discomfort from Catherine. On social media, things got personal fast. Some users praised William for his emotional transparency. One viral post read, "He's not just a future king. He's a husband who saw his wife get targeted and couldn't hold back." Others weren't as kind. Conspiracy threads began questioning whether the whole thing was orchestrated to distract from larger palace issues. Body language analysts flooded YouTube and talk shows, offering detailed breakdowns of the incident. One expert noted, Andrew's stare wasn't casual. It was controlled, almost hostile. Kate's reaction was classic tension, tight jaw, lowered gaze, minimal movement. And William? He looked like he'd been punched. The royal family's press office issued no formal comment, keeping to their usual never complain, never explain strategy. But insiders say briefings were happening behind the scenes to manage the growing media storm. They're worried, one royal source claimed. It's not just a stare, it's what people think it means. Meanwhile, royal fans picked sides. Hashtag Team Kate trended across platforms. Supporters demanded Andrew be permanently removed from public duties, calling the moment a slap in the face to a woman who has remained graceful under pressure. Some even linked the situation to Diana's past, drawing heartbreaking parallels. "It's always the women," one post read. First Diana, then Meghan, now Kate. The firm never protects them. And through it all, silence from Andrew, and silence from William and Catherine. But their faces had said enough, and for the media, This wasn't just another royal drama. It was a turning point, and they weren't going to let it pass quietly. Now, the question on everyone's lips is, was this truly what it looked like? Fact check. Did it really happen that way? With millions watching the footage and speculation exploding, some began to ask, did it really happen the way we think it did? Was it a dramatic stare loaded with meaning? Was William truly crying? Or is the public reading too deeply into a moment frozen on camera? To start, the footage that went viral was real, taken by professional photographers and confirmed to be from a recent private memorial event. But the clips circulating online were heavily edited, zoomed in, and often slowed down or paired with dramatic music. That alone made it harder to trust what was authentic. Eyewitnesses at the event gave mixed accounts. Some say they saw Andrew staring down Catherine in what felt like a challenge. Others claimed it looked more like a blank expression, misread under pressure. "He always looks stern," one attendee said. "It could have been nothing." Then there was the tear. One angle clearly shows William blinking repeatedly, then turning his head away. Some call it a moment of emotion. Others believe it was a normal reaction in a stressful setting. There is no confirmed footage of a full tear falling, but the tension in his face was undeniable. No official palace statement has been made, no confirmation, no denial. But that silence has only fueled the mystery. People are left to draw their own conclusions, and in the royal world, perception often becomes reality. There's also precedent to consider. Royal body language has been misinterpreted before. Small moments, a sigh, a glance, a frown, have sparked headlines in the past. But this time feels different because of the emotions clearly visible on William's face and the history of tension with Andrew. Experts remain divided. Some believe the entire situation is being exaggerated for clicks. Others say it reveals real cracks behind palace doors. "Even if there wasn't a tear," said one royal commentator, "the body language said enough." In the end, the truth may never be officially confirmed. But the world saw something that felt real. And that emotional moment between William, Kate, and Andrew has already taken on a life of its own. And that raises the stakes for what happens next. William's history of emotional displays. Prince William is known for keeping a composed, steady public face. But that's not to say he hasn't shown emotion. In fact, over the years, he's quietly allowed the world to see his softer side, especially when it comes to moments tied to family, grief, or protecting those he loves. This wasn't the first time William has been seen tearing up in public. During a charity event in 2017, while speaking about losing Princess Diana, he paused mid-sentence, eyes visibly red. The world understood then he never really stopped grieving. And in 2021, during the funeral of Prince Philip, William's face was tense and his eyes downcast. Though he didn't cry, the weight of the moment was visible in every step. In recent years, William has taken a very vocal role in mental health awareness. His work with initiatives like Heads Together has revealed just how deeply he values emotional strength, not as a weakness, but as a necessary part of leadership. He's spoken openly about bottling up emotions as a child after Diana's death, saying in one documentary, "I didn't talk about it for years, but it doesn't mean the pain wasn't there." That's why this recent tear, whether fully visible or quietly shed, hit so hard. This wasn't a speech or a ceremony. This was an emotional reaction to someone threatening his wife in plain sight, inside the very institution that was supposed to protect her. Observers say this moment may redefine how the public sees William. not just as the polished heir to the throne, but as a husband, a protector, a man who feels deeply. And that might be why this incident is sticking with people longer than most royal headlines. Critics will say he should have kept his composure, but many others disagree. A king who cries when his wife is hurt? One royal fan posted online. That's the kind of leader I want. The moment also adds a new chapter to his public image. He's not just Diana's son, he's becoming a figure shaped by grief, love, and responsibility. And if he's now showing emotion, it could mean the pressure behind palace walls is far greater than anyone knew. As one royal analyst noted, he's not weak, he's wounded. And when William cries, the whole world listens. Royal family, fallout, and power plays. Inside palace walls, no moment goes unnoticed. And Andrew's death stare, followed by William's emotional reaction, has triggered far more than gossip. It's exposed new fractures in the royal family, and some say it may even shift the balance of power. The first question: where does King Charles stand in all of this? On one hand, Charles has been trying to quietly contain Andrew's ambitions to return to royal duties. But on the other hand, Andrew remains his brother. If Charles is seen as protecting him while William and Catherine are publicly targeted, it could severely damage public trust. Then there are the courtiers and private advisors, the behind-the-scenes power players who manage everything from press releases to seating arrangements. In moments like these, they begin choosing sides, aligning with either Charles's softer approach or William's stricter vision of the monarchy's future. Andrew himself has remained silent, but sources say he was not pleased by the public backlash. He reportedly believes the world misunderstood his stare, calling it unfortunate framing. But others close to the situation believe it was calculated. Andrew making a final move to remind everyone he still exists, and he still wants in. This moment may also shift how the monarchy manages appearances going forward. Don't be surprised if future events show Andrew seated far away from Catherine and William. Quiet distancing is the palace's usual response to scandals they don't want to acknowledge out loud. And what about the long-term impact? If William gains more control as his father's health changes, it's likely Andrew will be pushed even further to the fringe. William has made it clear. He wants a modern monarchy, free from old scandals and damaged reputations. And Andrew doesn't fit that vision. Behind closed doors, the fallout is real, the tension is thick, and the firm is once again in survival mode, juggling emotion, public image, and the invisible chess game of power. As one palace insider told a journalist off record, this wasn't just a bad look. This was a warning, and William won't forget it. The question now, will Andrew fight back or fade away? Risks and long-term consequences. In the royal world, everything carries weight. One stare, one tear, one moment caught on camera can echo for decades. And the fallout from Prince Andrew's chilling look toward Catherine, followed by William's emotional response, is more than a trending topic. It's a storm that could change everything. The biggest risk? Public perception. People have seen William not just as a prince, but as a man brought to tears trying to shield his wife. Sympathy is pouring in, with thousands calling the moment raw, real, and heartbreaking. But while William and Catherine gain support, Andrew is facing another wave of rejection. His reputation, already on life support, may not survive this. For Andrew, this could be the final blow. He spent years trying to return to public royal duties, quietly attending family events, staying close to Charles, and attempting to rebuild his image. But after this, those doors may shut for good. If the public demands his removal from even private ceremonies, the monarchy may have no choice but to act. There's also the emotional toll on William and Kate. They're not just working royals, they're parents, partners, and public figures navigating constant pressure. Being blindsided by a family member in front of cameras adds another layer of stress. Some insiders say William has grown increasingly distrustful of certain royals, and this moment may deepen that divide. The media isn't letting go either. With footage circulating endlessly, any new public appearance involving these three royals will be hyper-analyzed. Future events, church services, or state gatherings will carry new tension. Will they be seated apart? Will Andrew be left out entirely? These aren't just logistical choices, they send political messages. Lastly, there's the monarchy's image as a whole. When a future king cries on camera while standing next to a disgraced uncle, it chips away at the polished surface the royal family tries so hard to protect. Royal protocol is built on control, but this was a moment no one could control. A single stare, a silent tear, and a family fractured in full view of the world. And now, the royal household faces its next challenge. What to do next? The aftermath and what comes next. As the dust settles, the silence inside Buckingham Palace is deafening. No official statement has been made, no apology, no clarification. But behind the scenes, things are already shifting. The moment Prince William wiped his eye after Andrew's icy glare at Catherine, something changed, and everyone knows it. Sources close to the palace say there will be consequences. Prince Andrew may not be publicly scolded, but insiders expect to see less of him at future royal events. Seating arrangements will be scrutinized. Invitations may quietly stop arriving. Distance will be enforced, without ever needing to say a word. There are also reports that William and Kate will take a short break from public duties to regroup. Whether that's true or not, it reflects the seriousness of what happened. A moment like this doesn't disappear. It becomes part of royal history, and future appearances will be shaped by it. In the media world, the story isn't dying down. Several outlets are preparing documentaries and deep dives, with royal commentators lining up to offer their interpretations. Podcasts are dissecting every angle. Was it planned? Was it personal? What does it say about the monarchy's future? The biggest question still hangs in the air. Will anyone speak out? William has rarely addressed family drama publicly, but some insiders believe he may break protocol and release a subtle message, perhaps through a trusted journalist or royal biographer. If Andrew remains silent, the public will take that silence as guilt. Catherine, as always, is expected to keep her composure, just as she did in the moment itself. But even silence sends a message. And this time, the message is clear. She didn't deserve that glare, and the public knows it. In royal history, moments like these often define turning points. Diana's interview, Harry and Meghan's exit, and now, the death stare that brought a future king to tears. As one royal historian said, this wasn't just emotion. It was a shift in power, and everyone watching felt it. The monarchy moves forward, but the memory of that moment will linger, etched in the eyes of William and in the hearts of those who watched him break. In a single glance, centuries of royal silence cracked. William's tear wasn't just grief. It was protection, pain, and a warning. As the cameras rolled and Andrew remained silent, the world saw what words couldn't say. One look, one tear, and a family feud now impossible to hide from history.